A captain's grudge. The stars had always been a battlefield for Xelvara Py'rin. From the moment the Consortium destroyed her homeworld of Drakthar Prime, leaving nothing but charred ruins and orphaned survivors, she vowed revenge. As the captain of the feared starship Crimson Fury, her name was synonymous with terror across the galaxy. To her crew, a ragtag assembly of exiles, mercenaries, and criminals, she was more than a leader. She was a legend. Xelvara didn't just plunder. She targeted the Consortium's core, its supply routes, research stations, and military depots. Every raid was another strike against the empire that had taken everything from her. But the raid on the Consortium prison transport would change everything. The human prisoner. Xelvara stood on the bridge of the Crimson Fury, watching as her crew herded the captured prisoners into the cargo hold. Most were desperate, broken souls, but one stood out. A human man, tall and calm amidst the chaos. "Bring him to me," Xelvara commanded, her voice as sharp as her obsidian blade. Ethan Cole was shoved before her. Unlike the others, he didn't avert his gaze. Instead, he met her glowing violet eyes with quiet confidence. "And who are you?" she asked, folding her arms. "Ethan Cole," he replied evenly. "Former Consortium scientist. And, judging by your reputation, I'd say I'm your best chance at bringing them down for good." Xelvara raised an eyebrow. Bold words for a man in shackles. Ethan smirked. "You'll want to hear what I know. Uneasy alliances." In her private quarters, Xelvara interrogated Ethan. He revealed secrets about the Consortium's latest project. A superweapon capable of annihilating entire systems with a single strike. "You expect me to believe this?" Xelvara sneered. "Believe it or don't," Ethan replied, leaning back. "But if I'm lying, what have you lost? If I'm right, you gain the means to destroy your greatest enemy." Despite her mistrust, Xelvara couldn't ignore the opportunity. She decided to keep him alive. Temporarily, Ethan's presence unsettled her. He wasn't like the others she'd captured. He was clever, resourceful, and, annoyingly, unshaken by her intimidation tactics. Worse, his optimism, so alien to her, began to seep into her crew. A fragile trust. Over time, Ethan proved his worth. He helped the crew decrypt Consortium codes, bypass security systems, and avoid ambushes. But he didn't stop there. He challenged Xelvara's worldview, questioning her endless vendetta. One night, after a particularly brutal raid, Ethan confronted her. "Do you ever think about what comes after?" he asked. "After?" she echoed, confused. "After the Consortium falls. After your revenge is complete." Xelvara's jaw tightened. "There is no after. My purpose ends when they do." Ethan stepped closer. "That's not purpose, Xelvara. That's emptiness." She hated that his words lingered long after he left. The Battle of Lython Station. The Crimson Fury launched its boldest raid yet, an attack on Lython Station, where the Consortium's superweapon was being constructed. The mission was chaos. Consortium forces were stronger than expected, and Xelvara's crew struggled to hold their ground. When Xelvara was pinned down by enemy fire, Ethan appeared, pulling her to safety. "You're insane," she growled as he dragged her behind cover. "Probably," he replied with a grin. "But you'd miss me if I wasn't." Together, they planted explosives on the station's core. As the structure began to collapse, Ethan stayed by her side, covering their escape. The turning point. Back on the Crimson Fury, Xelvara faced a torrent of emotions. For years, she had been a force of destruction, her heart hardened by loss. Yet Ethan had awakened something she thought long dead. One evening, as the ship drifted in the calm of a nebula, she found herself drawn to him. "Why did you save me back there?" she asked. Ethan looked at her, his expression sincere. "Because you're more than you think you are, Xelvara. You're not just a weapon. You're a leader, a protector. And he hesitated. You mattered to me. For the first time in years, Xelvara felt her walls begin to crumble. Love and sacrifice. The crew's final mission was their most dangerous yet, infiltrating the Consortium's central command to broadcast evidence of its atrocities. With Ethan's help, they navigated the labyrinthine station, narrowly avoiding detection. But during their escape, Ethan was injured. Consortium soldiers closed in, and Xelvara faced an impossible choice: abandon him to save the crew or risk everything to save the man who had changed her. I'm not leaving you, she said fiercely, hoisting him onto her shoulder. Zel, he began, but she silenced him with a glare. Don't argue with your captain. Together, they fought their way out, Xelvara's determination driving her beyond exhaustion. Legends among the stars. With the Consortium's collapse, Xelvara and her crew became symbols of hope. But the fame didn't suit her. She relinquished leadership of the rebellion and disappeared into the stars with Ethan and her crew. In their stolen moments of peace, Xelvara found herself smiling more, her once scarred heart healing in ways she never thought possible. Ethan had taught her something she could never have found on her own: the strength not just to fight, but to live. And together, they forged a new legacy, one of love, redemption, and freedom among the stars.